Just so you know that your body knows how to heal itself, by the way, a quick example is that your mother and father got together and there was a sperm and an egg and you grew from that. Your mum didn't have to give the growing of that any conscious thought, and you didn't have to give it any conscious thought, and yet here you are. You ever got a cut, like when you're shaving, an example, or you cut your hands? I get cuts on my hands all the time because I'm working with them. They just heal themselves. I don't think about it. I know I have to keep them clean, and that's basically it. And my body gets on and does it, and leave it open to the fresh air is the best thing. You ever broken a bone? Same sort of thing. Sometimes you have to get it back in the right position and you have to support it, but it will heal provided you have the right nutrients as well. So your job really is to support your body and then keep out of its way. And really, you want to stop taking toxins in. As you become more and more aware of what a toxic place this is, and you start to become cognizant and mindful of the toxins you've been inadvertently exposing yourself to, you're doing your body an amazing service, because as you take less toxins in, it can start to then move the toxins out of deep storage. And sure, you will probably have a healing response, a healing reaction, a healing crisis. They call it Herxheimer. That will happen, but your body will become clearer and clearer. So you're in a constant state of renewal. We talked about that yesterday. Things like your eyes renew very quickly, which is why I think they're so painful when you hurt them. And you're constantly handling toxins. But the more you can stop taking toxins in, the better it is. So think about toxic relationships too. These could be with others, or they could be with yourself. Be mindful of self-doubt, self-loathing, self-belief. The emotion code I found to be an incredibly potent resource for me. I only came across it recently. There'll be a link in your workbook to that, and we're also going to talk a little bit about that in one of the other modules. And if you're having trouble with your self-talk, I would also say talk to yourself. Don't listen to yourself. John Gordon has got some good material on that. And write down the story you want to tell yourself, but don't listen to the story you're being told by yourself, if that makes sense. So let's have a look now at what are some common and harmful toxic insults to our bodies and minds on a daily basis, and let's offer some safe alternatives you could consider. Number one, poor nutrition. I'm not going to go into that in this module because tomorrow or the next module we're going to talk about nutrition. Herbicides and pesticides, they are on most fruits and vegetables. Make sure you watch stuff thoroughly. If you can, start buying organic. Even better, start growing organic, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. Things like bread, by the way, most bread is very bad for you. It's got glyphosate on the wheat more often than not, and other chemicals and herbicides. Not ideal. The other thing with bread, as an aside, if you're going to have to eat bread or you really want to keep eating it, and by the way, one of the fastest ways to get your belly down is to stop eating bread and stop having wheat, like we talked about. Have sourdough, because sourdough takes a couple of days to raise and do its thing. It also starts to break down some of the gluten in the bread. The financial industry, or the accountants, I suppose, got hold of the bread industry. I think it was back in the 1960s, and you can add sugar to the yeast to make it rise quick, and then salt to stop it. You can make a loaf of bread in 15 minutes, which means more profit, but the result is not something you want to be eating. Another toxic insult is the overuse, and by overuse, I mean use of pharmaceutical products. Many are petrochemical based. I'm not aware of any that are actually any good for you. They all cause direct effects that they say are side effects, and then they lead you down the merry-go-round of using more and more of their products. It's a beautiful business model. Tobacco. If you smoke, your shout. I wouldn't. It's full of all sorts of shit you don't want in your system. Vaping, I suspect that's going to come out to be exactly the same. You're inhaling man-made substances direct into the delicate tissues inside your body, in your lungs and into your blood. Can't see it's going to do you any good. Heavy metals, we talked about aluminium before. Also think about, what other metals you think about? Well, mercury in your teeth, actually. Yeah, silver fillings. They contain mercury. Mercury is a very bad neurotoxin. It's not something you want to have in your mouth. Goodness knows why the dental industry think it's safe to put mercury in your mouth when it's not safe to handle. They have to go through all sorts of procedures in order to dispose of it. So yeah, find a good biologic dentist and get that crap taken out of your mouth when you can afford to. It's absolutely worth it. Another thing, while you're on the subject of teeth, but not necessarily on toxicity, Dr. Jerry Tennant's got some amazing work on the electrical circuitry in the body and how the teeth act as circuit breakers. I was speaking to a guy probably 4 years ago now that wanted some alternative suggestions to dealing with cancer. And I'll never give people advice, but what I will tell them is what I would do in their shoes. And then obviously they can choose to do that or not. But I said to him, look, before we begin, tell me if you have any root canal fillings, and if you do, which tooth. And then I was able to tell him, looking at a tooth chart, which part of the body he had cancer in. which really got his attention. And I would encourage you. Dr. Jerry Tennant's work I found quite complex, and I built a very big mind map so I could get my head around it, but it's worth having a look at. Again, there'll be a link in your workbook if you want to dive into that and have a look, because it explains how the body works. It also explains about how salamanders, as an example, can lose, I think, half their brain, limbs, and they can grow them back again. Our bodies, I believe, are capable of the same thing, but there's other things at work as well in terms of beliefs, etc. Veneers on your teeth, if you're thinking about having them, I don't think I would. Your teeth are important as part of a detox pathway from your brain. They are porous, and I think the veneers interfere with that. Toxic skin exposures. Your skin is very porous. You are basically full of holes, and I'm not talking about your mouth hole or your asshole. I'm talking about your skin. You are porous. It's the largest elimination organ after the lungs. It's also the largest organ for taking toxins in after the lungs. In terms of surface area, mechanics become hypersensitive to oil. Hairdressers can become hypersensitive to all the very noxious cleaning products they use, like shampoos and the bleachers and stuff like that. But also, if you're putting creams onto your skin, moisturizers, shower gels, stuff like that, be mindful. Also, the endocrine effects or disruptor effects of the perfumes you might wear, the aftershave, sorry, lads, not perfumes. So just have a think about that.